What if I told you that this year's Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit wasn't just another diplomatic gathering, but a pivotal moment that could redefine the global power structure for decades to come? Picture this: more than 20 nations, representing half the world's population, meeting to discuss a future where Western dominance is no longer the default. This wasn't about empty promises or photo ops. It was a bold statement to the world that the multipolar era isn't coming, it's already here. If you're curious about how China, India, and Russia are shaping this future, why global media is paying such close attention, and why this summit could signal the birth of a new world order, stick around. You're about to hear a story that could change the way you see global politics forever. For 2 days, from August 31st to September 1st, leaders from across Eurasia and beyond gathered in a powerful display of unity at the SCO Summit. Among the highlights was the historic moment when Russian President Vladimir Putin and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi walked hand in hand, signaling not just friendship, but an alignment of interests that could have ripple effects far beyond Asia. And just 1 day earlier, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Modi introduced a striking metaphor: "It's time for the dragon and the elephant to dance." That phrase isn't just poetic, it's a message to the West that two of the world's largest powers are willing to set aside their differences and cooperate. But let's take a step back. What exactly is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and why is it suddenly in the headlines? Established in 2001, the SCO began as a regional security alliance between 6 nations, including China, Russia, and Kazakhstan. Over time, it evolved into a full-scale geopolitical powerhouse, now with 10 full members, including India, Pakistan, and Iran, 2 observer states, and 14 dialogue partners. This isn't just a regional organization anymore. The SCO now represents a bloc of countries that share one crucial thing: a desire for a multipolar world order, one not dominated by the West. The 2025 summit's scale was unprecedented. More than 20 world leaders attended, along with delegations from over 30 nations. The event coincided with ceremonies marking the 80th anniversary of the victory over militarist Japan and the end of World War II, a symbolic reminder of how deeply historical context shapes today's geopolitical shifts. But beyond the symbolism, the SCO adopted a new development strategy stretching to 2035, signed around 20 cooperation agreements, and mapped out a collective response to global challenges, from security threats to economic instability. Putin himself said the organization needed a powerful new dynamic to address today's pressing challenges. And that's exactly what this summit delivered. From opposing protectionism and unilateralism to emphasizing equality among member states, the SCO's message is clear: it's an alternative to Western alliances. This principle of non-interference resonates deeply with countries in the global south, many of which are tired of being pressured into choosing sides in global conflicts. Let's talk about the China-India dynamic, because this could be the game changer. Historically, China and India have had tense relations, with border disputes and economic rivalries shaping their interactions. But Xi and Modi's declaration that their nations are partners, not rivals, signals something bigger. If these two economic giants align, even partially, it will accelerate the shift toward a multipolar world. The combined economic power of China and India, along with their massive populations, gives them influence that rivals or surpasses Western powers. Another major takeaway from the summit was China's explicit support for Belarus, a clear signal of strategic backing for Russia as tensions with NATO escalate. Meanwhile, discussions around Azerbaijan's potential SCO membership raised eyebrows. With Azerbaijan recently striking a deal with Armenia and opening doors to the US, its inclusion in the SCO would be a significant geopolitical twist. These moves reflect a broader trend: countries traditionally aligned with the West are exploring new partnerships, hedging their bets on a future where power is shared among multiple centers, not concentrated in Washington or Brussels. What makes the SCO particularly intriguing is its ability to unite countries with vastly different ideologies. Unlike NATO or the EU, where members share common political and economic systems, the SCO thrives on diversity. From authoritarian regimes to democracies, its members find common ground in resisting Western dominance and advocating for a fairer global order. This flexible structure makes the SCO attractive to countries like Turkey, Egypt, and Indonesia, all of which sent leaders or representatives to the summit. Western media outlets like Bloomberg and Reuters are already sounding alarms. Their coverage of the summit emphasizes how the SCO has evolved from a security-focused organization to a full-fledged geopolitical and economic alliance. They highlight China's ambition to use the SCO as a counterbalance to US influence in Asia, but this narrative misses a key point: the SCO isn't just about China. It's about a growing coalition of nations asserting their sovereignty and shaping their own futures. Consider this: SCO countries represent vast natural resources, some of the fastest-growing economies, and nearly 50% of the global population. With BRICS expanding and aligning closely with the SCO, we are witnessing the rise of a new power bloc that could rival the West in every dimension: economically, militarily, and technologically. The SCO Summit wasn't just another conference. It was a demonstration of soft power, strategic alliances, and economic planning on a scale the West hasn't seen in decades. Agreements signed during the summit covered not only security, but also trade, infrastructure, and cultural cooperation. This broad agenda shows that the SCO's vision isn't limited to politics. It's about creating a holistic ecosystem for its members, making them less dependent on Western systems. And yet, the real story isn't just about deals signed or speeches given. It's about the message sent to the world: the era of unipolar dominance is fading. The SCO represents a new chapter where countries that were once seen as peripheral are now central to shaping global policies. And this momentum is only growing. With every summit, the SCO and BRICS together are rewriting the rules of global governance. So, here's the big question: are we ready for a world where Washington and Brussels no longer call all the shots? What happens when Beijing, New Delhi, and Moscow become power centers equal to the West? The SCO Summit gives us a glimpse of that future, and if this year's event is any indication, that future is coming faster than anyone expected. If you've been following geopolitics, you know these changes don't happen overnight. But the signs are everywhere. Countries are diversifying trade partnerships, building new infrastructure routes, and investing in alternative financial systems like digital currencies and non-dollar trade. The SCO Summit is just one piece of the puzzle, but it's a critical one. So, what do you think? Are we witnessing the birth of a new world order, or is this just another chapter in the ongoing rivalry between East and West? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps spread this conversation. Make sure you subscribe for more deep dives into global economics, politics, and the shifts shaping our future. And share this video with someone who still thinks the world is run by one or two superpowers. Trust me, this is a conversation they need to hear.